I would just say if you're sitting in class and you don't want to be there, John Galt, they're going to teach you how to do everything step by step, and they have a support system there to guide you the entire way. And if you just listen to what they say and you put your head down and you work hard, it'll work. It will work out. It'll change your life. It'll give you financial freedom that you never thought you could have at the age that you are. You won't have the student loan debt. You won't have a degree that you don't even use for your job. So it will change your life as long as you listen to them, and it will work, and they're here to help. Everyone here wants to see you succeed. So it might be big and scary, but we're all here. We're all in this together.
Welcome back to John Galt Insurance Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Casada, Vice President. I've got my co-host here, CEO Pete Podgy.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you again. We're welcoming one of our young superstars over here in our Bonita Springs office over on the West Coast. Brendan, nice to have you today.
Thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
No problem. Stay with us. Appreciate it.
So we're just going to jump right in, right? Obviously, our audience is a bunch of yous, right? A bunch of many Brendans, right? Remind me, how old are you again?
23.
23 years old. How long you been with us?
Almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years, and you're approaching 2 million.
Yeah.
Like here any second, right? So congrats on that, obviously.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Let's go all the way back. Not too many years ago. You're only 23 years old.
Right.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, I was born and
Right, and then I was here, right? Your story is a little bit different than from some of our other agents, right? Your father is actually really good friends with Pete. So
I'm not proud at all that he's doing well, just so you know.
I normally say let's go back to 19, but I feel like Pete's been in your ear since you were just a little kid, right?
Yeah, I remember because we were up in Illinois and Pete would come up and visit, and I remember Pete would every single time, even if I was 6, 7, every time we'd see him. If you don't like school, you gotta try out this insurance thing. I'll take care of you. I'll take care of you.
He's in 8th grade, man. Give him a break.
I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about,
Right.
Pete.
What is insurance,
Yeah.
right?
But yeah, he would, as long as I've known him, he always offered it out every single time. I don't think he ever thought I'd take him up on it, to be honest with you. But
And then the one time you didn't like school.
and then it turned out that I didn't like school. And
Right. So you graduate high school.
Yep.
Right. Go to college. Mm-hmm. How long were you in school?
a semester and a half.
Oh, so you were one of the real smart ones. You're like,
It's like our wheelhouse.
all right. So a semester and a half in Illinois, right? You're not even in Florida. You're home still.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What made you make that decision so quick to realize that school's not for you?
It kind of worked out perfectly for me because in the first place, I probably should have never gone to school. It was kind of like a thing that I just felt like you're supposed to go to school.
Right. We hear that a lot.
Yeah, and it was just like that was the thing you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go to school after high school, and I just went because that's what you're supposed to do. And then actually, COVID happened in the middle of my freshman year, and everyone went home and it shut down. And then it kind of just was like I was able to like be very, very harsh with myself and be like, this just isn't. It's not worth the money. It's not worth my time. Like, this isn't what I want to do. Right. Now, I had no idea what I wanted to do after that, but right. I just...
Oh, I knew.
Yeah. But, like, it kind of worked out perfectly that COVID happened, school shut down, and I was able to kind of just be like, this is just a waste of everyone's time for me to do this.
Right. So you're sitting at home debating on what to do next.
Yeah.
And I'm going to learn something today, right? Walk me through your story of even getting us here, because I know a lot of it was being
persuaded.
Yeah, since I was gonna say groomed, but probably not the right word, right? Since just a little boy, Pete was grooming you. That probably doesn't sound great, but what made you make that decision of sitting in your home, COVID, everything's shut down, to then actually moving to Florida and starting your journey? Yeah,
so we COVID happened, and then I actually tried community college. Okay. So I tried again, and I didn't even make it a semester in community college. So I really knew school wasn't for me. Right. So I was working, doing fire alarm inspections in Illinois. It was just kind of 40 hours on your feet all day. It just wasn't what I wanted to do. Kind of no path, and then happened to come down here to Florida to visit some family. Okay. And Pete and his wife met us, and I went up to him. I said, I'd like to sit down and talk to you about this.
You talk to me when I was in 7th grade?
Yeah, I was like, I'm actually interested. So he sat me down. We had a nice, he went over it for like 15 minutes. I probably grazed over a few things. And we had a 15-minute conversation, and then that night I just told my parents, like, this is what I want to do. So
what was their response?
They were actually a lot more understanding. I think they could see that school was not going to be for me, and I didn't really have a path, and they were just kind of like, he's got to go figure it out. Right. So they were supportive. They supported me in it.
Even with them knowing Pete, they were still supportive, right?
I think that made a huge, obviously that makes a big
deal. We made a deal. First of all, if it doesn't work out, come and try for 90 days, 6 months. If it doesn't work out, it's okay. And also with the agreement that we're not going to ever screw the kid over.
Right.
We have that agreement. So when you've been friends that long, we know that it's a safe place, so that helped a little bit, but still could have not worked out. We knew it wouldn't be hard for you. So
well, honestly,
come and try.
We're going to talk about it, but your first year was not all rainbows and butterflies and successes, right?
It looked like it wasn't going to work.
We were going down that path, right? So you decide to make the leap, betting on yourself, understanding you had a little bit of a safety net with the parents supporting you, Pete support. You show up, come through boot camp, come through MVP. Walk me through like your mindset of the first 90 days with us in a new industry, in a new state, right? Probably a little bit of pressure because you have that, grooming since I'm 7th grade. I'm actually here. I got to perform a little bit. Walk me through kind of your mindset of where you were at during that time.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't think I fully wrapped my head around the whole move and what I was really getting myself into. So, which I actually think that benefited me, because if I fully knew what I was getting myself into, I probably would have.
Didn't give you a chance to overthink it.
Overthink it and be like,
let's see what
maybe not a good idea. So I didn't know what I was getting myself into, and I went to the boot camp, I went to the MDP, and I just kind of the first 90 days, I just kind of blindly did what I was told to do.
And how'd that work for you?
It worked really well.
And then what happened day 91?
I stopped doing it.
That's definitely true, but that happens a lot. It's working, so stop. I'm too busy.
It worked too well, I just stopped doing it, right? So you've been with us for how long now?
It'll be 3 years in January.
So January, we're starting our 3rd year, right? You're completing the first full 2 years, starting your 3rd year.
That's right. We started on his first day was the yacht cruise for.
Correct. The first, he was one of those.
This is going to be great. I don't have to do anything. I get to go on a boat. Right?
Talk to the audience about your first year within this industry, right? Understanding you didn't know anything, right? You're not one of the agents that tried it with another agency and then found us. This was truly from scratch, not knowing an industry. Walk us through kind of the ups and downs of your first year, and then we'll talk about some of your more successes in your second year. But walk us through that first year.
Yeah, when I moved down here, I literally knew Pete, his wife, and my aunt and uncle. I knew 4 people that lived in Florida. So I didn't know, there was nobody to just, like you said, no experience prior, none of that. Like you said, the first 90 days, I did it how I was supposed to. And then when you start to get in the nitty gritty of it, you stop doing it. You feel like you're too busy, and there's just this big up and down thing. The big thing that happened then is, because of the up and downs and the lack of consistency and not really hitting the ground running and just constantly doing what I was supposed to be doing, Hurricane Ian happened. Okay. And I realized that I don't have nearly as much as I need to be doing. Right. And it's just that last quarter, it was not great, to the point where we talked about where it looked like I wasn't gonna continue here. Right. But I don't know. I think.
Did the homesick thing do anything at all or not?
Yeah, I would say a little bit.
Yeah.
Again, 20 years old, 21
years old, and I didn't know anyone. Right. I didn't. All I had was work, and then when Hurricane Ian happened and work kind of stopped for a week, I kind of just lost my groove, kind of got out of everything, and it just kind of...
you even came over to corporate and were answering claim calls.
Yeah, right? when that happened, I was over customer service, right?
What's crazy is that, a lot of times in people's lives, you have big changes or big shifts with, traumatic or dramatic, issues or things happen, and you look at... Decision 1 was made COVID, right? The whole world shut down. And you're like, I'm moving to Florida. Let's try something new. And then you get, at that point, one of the largest hurricanes hit, and you're like, oh, let me lock back in, right? And so Ian happens. Going into the latter part of your first year, you had to have another tough conversation with yourself.
Yes.
And I think even with Pete,
yes.
right? It was not the best news, but I think it was something that you needed at that point.
It was.
Talk us through that conversation.
I still remember it. I was at home for Christmas break. I was only supposed to be there for like 4 days, and then
Didn't sell any all year. He's like, I'm gonna go on a 14-day vacation.
I hadn't sold anything in probably a month. Like it just was all bad, and I was only supposed to be there for 4 days and then get back down and like get ready for the year to start. And then Southwest, another like crazy thing, Southwest had like the worst cancellation thing they've ever had, where I couldn't get a flight back till New Year's Day. So I was at home for like 7 extra days.
My joke was he left on Labor Day and he came back on New Year's. You know?
But he came back a new man.
Yeah, right. But I remember I was in Illinois, it's snowing, it's cold, and he called me and we had a tough conversation about like kind of what are you doing? Like what's going on? What happened? And I still remember he was like, is this something you really want to do? Like, do you want to give it one more go, or are we gonna throw the towel in?
Right.
And I sat there, I thought for a second and just honestly answered like in my head, I was thinking, like, what else am I going to do?
Right.
So I'm just going to go all in and just be like, all right, we're going to do it one more time. All in, no regrets. And that was probably one of the best decisions I ever made in my life.
Absolutely. And you're coming off one of your best years ever, right? And so that second year, obviously, it's funny because the first conversation that you had with Pete, it's 15 minutes, real quick, rainbows and butterflies. I don't know what I'm getting myself into, but I'm doing it, right? And we've seen it a lot of times. I mean, we look at our largest agency owner, Zane, who he'll be on the show before. We had tough conversation with him too, and it was like, it took that tough love for that light bulb to go off for you to be able to, you know what, I can do this. And you get to a point where you're so low, you're like, well, what else am I gonna do? Let me just go at it, right? So starting your second year, right? First year, kind of going through the motions, you'd follow the path for a little bit, get success, be busy, fall off, right? And you have that roller coaster. You have the tough conversation with Pete. You're like, you know what? Let's give this a go. You come back to Florida. Southwest now works, right?
Yeah.
What changed, right? Because you're still who you are. You're still within the same system. You're still in Bonita. What do you think changed? What mindset, or even in your own self, what changed?
Again, it's just like what do I have to lose mentality of, I think when I first came down here, this was very much out of my comfort zone. I had a tough time talking to other people, and that's a big part of this, like meeting other people and all that stuff. And I kind of went in with what do you have to lose mentality of, where I just started just doing what I was supposed to do every single day. I followed the system to a T every single day, just no regrets, didn't stop talking to people. And that's really, it was that simple. I just kind of went in and just stopped caring about or overthinking it in my head, and stop being self-conscious about it.
Stop taking yourself so seriously, right?
Right.
How long before the confidence kicked in, would you say?
I would say it took a couple.
He's still waiting.
Well, let's see.
Lunch?
I would say like the first 3 months I could see it because I got
Success.
Production started to happen. I was getting meetings and stuff. And then I remember as the year kind of went on, it was like the production was good, and then it just slowly started to tick up and tick up and tick up until I had my first $100,000 month in July.
$100,000.
Yeah, and like that was something when I first started. I thought,
imagine that, where your first year, you're not, you come into January, am I going to do this or not? And then 7 months later, you find yourself in an elite group of people doing, $100,000 in 1 month.
Yeah.
We talk about a lot of our pride in mentoring and mentorship, right? Obviously, you've had Pete grooming you since you were a young little boy, right?
I don't like this grooming.
Right? But in Bonita, right? When did Tyler come into your life here in Bonita?
He was there when I first started, and then he went home, and then he came back July last year, I believe. Okay. So
right around that.
Right as everything was starting to go back up, he kind of got inserted back into everything. Okay.
So what would you say your biggest tool to your success and making that turn? What do you think that was?
Meaning what? Like what?
For your success that you've generated over the last year now, what do you think the biggest factor in that was?
I would say the people here do play a factor in that. Just coming to work every day is not terrible. Like I have people that I enjoy working with and stuff. I would also say like you guys as a support system, like you guys, I mean, you lay it out, you tell us how to do it. You don't, there's no secrets involved with it.
And Tyler's been a huge help.
Yeah. And then having Tyler here, who's one of like the true products, if you do everything to an exact T, having somebody who sits right next to me doing that and picking his brain and bouncing stuff off of him, it's made a huge difference.
And that's something that I always even talked about, Pete, like having that person next to you that is setting that bar, it gives you something to look forward to try to beat. And I think you actually knocked him off for the first time in a while on weekly production, right?
Yeah.
How'd he do the next week?
He said, don't even try.
Right.
Good, friendly, fun competition where everybody makes more money.
Right.
So obviously, what we're looking for is, like I said earlier, and really a lot of why we're doing this is to find a bunch of little Brendens, right? So what would you say to yourself, even looking back, 19, 20 years old, sitting in your house, sitting in school, what would you say to them for them to bet on themselves and to jump into an opportunity like we have here at John Galt?
Yeah, I would say my biggest thing is if you don't think you want to go to school, don't go to school, because it's not going to work out. Or if it is going to work out, you're going to be miserable about it. And I would say, if you're not going to school, this is probably the best opportunity that you have, because you guys literally give us an opportunity to own our own business at such a young age. And you guys laid out how to do it. It's not easy. It's a lot of hard work, but you guys are there along the way to help. And, the tough conversations Pete's had with me, as he's had with other people too, that's what you guys are here for. Like, you're not going to have it figured out at that age, but there's such a good support system here and such a good, everyone around just is here to see you succeed. There's really no better opportunity to go to if you're going to not go to school, if you're iffy about going to school. If I had done it all over again, I would have done this right out of high school. I wouldn't have waited the 2 years.
I mean, that extra 2 years.
I wouldn't have.
Yeah, you're going to be retired soon.
I'm retiring at 32 instead of 30.
What would you say to someone who is scared? Because that's a big one. What do I do?
What would you say to yourself? Because you were scared, right? Like,
if you could say it differently.
It's cliche, but it's going to work. It will work out. To Pete's point too, if it doesn't, it's not the end of the world. So if you're scared, just do it. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Life will go on and you will find something else.
And it's not for everyone.
And it's not. I mean, that's the reality of it, but it's going to be okay. And just take the shot, because it could change your life like it has changed mine.
Absolutely. And it's fun to watch. We talk about this a lot, of watching the progression from really a 19 or 20-year-old boy, right, to becoming now a 23-year-old soon-to-be business owner, and now be able to watch you do that with your staff is really why we do this, right, and why we have the company, and you're just a testament to, you show up every day, you put in the work, you follow the system, and guess what? That financial freedom, that success follows, right?
So I would just say, if you're sitting in class and you don't want to be there, John Galt, like I said, the whole system, they're going to teach you how to do everything step by step, and they have a support system there to guide you the entire way. And if you just listen to what they say and you put your head down and you work hard, it'll work. It will work out. It'll change your life. It'll give you financial freedom that you never thought you could have at the age that you are. You won't have the student loan debt. You won't have a degree that you don't even use for your job. So it will change your life as long as you listen to them, and it will work, and they're here to help. Everyone here wants to see you succeed. So it might be big and scary, but we're all here. We're all in this together.
So don't be afraid to drop out of school and come work with Brendan. He'll show you how to do it.
Please do. I would probably still be in Illinois doing fire alarm inspections, driving a van around and just testing buildings for fire alarms and stuff.
Working what I like to call a JOB.
Yes.
Which creates you just being just over broke.
Yep. That's exactly, I don't see any of that. It's absolutely what I would still be doing. If I didn't know Pete and I wasn't here.
Which is a testament, once again, to what Pete has created, but you are who you are, right? And because of the opportunity that has been put forth, yes, you have to put in the work, But it's like you said, it's just follow the system, right? And for so many kids out there that don't know what they want to do, what I'm saying is come join this system. Don't get stuck doing something that you have to wake up every day where 10 years from now you're doing the same exact thing, hoping that your boss gives you a raise. Come and join this system and put in the work for the next 10 years so that your 11th, 12th, 13th year, you're looking at your staff and saying, how can I help change their lives versus looking at a boss and saying, I got to start a truck to go test, fire systems.
You're right, exactly.
So with that being said, I really appreciate you taking time out of your day. I'm looking forward to you continuing to kill it and making your third year the best year yet.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Thank you.
You know how I feel, sir.
Oh, God.